Daily meditation routine of Sant Ji. Sant Ji would get up at 2 a.m. in the morning. After finishing with his morning routine, he would take bath in the big tub, chabacha, of the tube well. Then he would recite the 5 prescribed banis, nitnem, by sitting on a chair. There only he would start reciting the Guru Mantra, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, in a loud voice. Bhai Pyara Singh just thought in his mind as to why Sant Ji still needs to recite Vaheguru in a loud voice. To redress his curiosity, Sant Ji explained that when he recites Vaheguru in a loud voice, he gets enthralled right from his head to foot. As per the duty, Bhai Pyara Singh would daily wash all the clothes along with bed sheets because Sant Ji used to change them daily. Sant Ji's chair was placed near the hut amongst the trees. Pyara Singh thought that the chair was not completely under the shade of the trees, so it might become wet with dewdrops. So he placed it under the thick shady trees. But Sant Ji asked him to let it remain in that open space only, because he was seeing whole of the universe, including various hidden worlds from that place. He told Pyara Singh to spread some rice husks around the chair so that the sheet spread on the chair may not touch the ground. After sitting around for some time, Sant Ji would go into the hut and the doors would be closed. Then he would remain engrossed in the Anhad sound. Sant Ji asked Pyara Singh to sprinkle the perfume on all the sheets. The timetable for meditation was fixed and was strictly followed. Bhai Pyara Singh always knew in detail about the timetable of Sant Ji, that is, when he would be going out and returning to his hut. Everything was being conducted strictly according to the army discipline. Time was fixed for eating, resting, and for the sangat in the evening. Only 5 people used to be present in the sangat. All 4 of the family members, and 5th was Sant Ji himself. Jointly, they would sing hymns taking turns, and after that Guru Mantra would be chanted. Sant Ji would elaborate the meaning of the hymns, which used to be of the highest spiritual order. When Sant Ji used to sit in Samadhi amongst the trees, the sound of Anhad Naad could be heard all around, up to 2.5 acres distance. Everybody, except anyone coming from Pillai, was forbidden to come to the tube well site. But Pillai's Sangat was allowed to meet Sant Ji whenever they would come. This strict routine continued for 40 days. The routine for taking meals was that early in the morning at 2 a.m., after taking his bath, etc., he would drink 1.5 liters of cold milk. After finishing with his morning meditation routine, nitnem, at around 12:30 p.m., he would take 2 rotis with lentils, etc., and good amount of desi ghee would be used. After the evening routine, he would eat 40 almonds with cream of milk and a glass full of milk. He quite often used to say that when you are doing intensive meditation, then you need as much diet as is required by a wrestler. He said that he felt sick at Bhutan just because enough good diet was not available in the army. When Sant Ji was at my house during the Pog ceremony, I asked him if there was any commandment for me. Sant Ji asked me to come in April and cautioned not to come in March, and he promised that he would initiate me in the recitation of the Naam. But God has His own ways. I, along with Jathedar Guru Naam Singh Ji, was coming from Khadur Sahib, and when we reached near Nagoke crossing, Bhai Kashmir Singh and Bhai Balveer Singh, both nephews of Sant Ji, met us. They were facing dire financial crunch. Very humbly, they requested us to explain their economic condition to Papa Ji. We told them that we are not allowed to see him, so it was not possible for us to go there. Jathedar Ji tried to explain that Sant Ji was always fully aware about everything and need not to be told specifically. They insisted that if we would not accede to their request, they would not go back to their house. They said that as a matter of fact, we were not trying to understand their problem. Compelled extremely, we agreed to meet Sant Ji the very next day in the morning. Then both of us planned that rather than meeting Papa Ji directly, we would meet Pyara Singh at his house and would tell him to convey to Sant Ji what his nephews had asked us to convey. Next day we reached village Padda on a motorcycle. Bhai Pyara Singh was not at his house, but his wife, Bibi Poonan, was there. But she was not aware of anything, what all was happening on their tube well. She told us that Sant Ji often goes to the banks of the river for meditation and Bhai Pyara Singh might be alone at the tube well. Believing her, we started moving towards the tube well site. As we were approaching near the tube well, we could see Sant Ji sitting amongst the trees. Not only that, we could hear the sound of Anhad Naad as well. Both of us got terrified. We laid down our motorcycle in the fields of the wheat crops and hid ourselves in the wheat crop. Then somehow we reached near Bhai Pyara Singh at the tube well. We planned that we would reach after conveying the message to Bhai Ji before Papa Ji would reach at the tube well. Bhai Pyara Singh was astonished to see us there because strictly nobody was allowed to go there. Hurriedly we told him the purpose for which we had gone there and begged his leave. Bhai Ji said that we should not go because Sant Ji was about to come and said that Bhai Arjan Singh had just gone to bring him. Just then we saw that Sant Ji was actually coming with Arjan Singh and we could hear their conversation. Sant Ji asked Arjan Singh if somebody had come to see him. He told Sant Ji that Chopra and Jathedar Ji had come. Sant Ji asked him the reason of our coming there. Both of us were a bit afraid as we were expecting to be reprimanded for violating the commandment of Sant Ji. Bhai Arjan Singh, as per his open nature, asked Sant Ji that if he could give free hand to Palai's Sangat, then why should these guys need to be reprimanded? Sant Ji just laughed and we were relieved of the tension we were in. The same day, Bhai Tanna Singh reached at village Bariar for conveying the message of Palai's Sangat. After inquiring about Sant Ji, when he decided to come to village Padda, Sant Ji's wife also accompanied him. Sant Ji was a bit displeased and told her that she should not have come there without his permission. Bhai Tanna Singh, coming to her rescue, said that it was he who had asked her to come along. Then slowly other people of Palai's Sangat started reaching there and soon a good number of people gathered there. Sant Ji proclaimed that his mission was accomplished and he would like to go back to his village. Whole of the Padda family wanted to thank Sant Ji for providing them with an opportunity to serve him in one of the noblest of causes. So they called a sweet maker and gifted him with large amount of sweets. Sant Ji decided to meet Gurbaksh Kaur's mother at village Khadiyan in district Jalandhar before going to Bariar. On reaching there, Sant Ji showered lots of love and affection on Mataji and proclaimed that the house where Sangat takes off their shoes is indeed a fortunate house. From village Padda, Sant Ji sent Bhai Tanna Singh and Kashmir Singh to meet Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa and gave them 1 rupee coin and 5 almonds to be handed over to Khalsa Ji. Sant Jarnail Singh was on his religious preaching tour and was at village Naushedra on that day. Both of them were also asked to deliver a special message of Palai's Sangat to Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa. Bhai Tanna Singh asked Sant Ji that what was the meaning of sending 5 almonds and 1 rupee coin to Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa. Sant Ji said that Sant Jarnail Singh Ji would understand and you would also come to know what did that mean. After reaching Naushedra, Bhai Tanna Singh handed over those 5 almonds and 1 rupee coin to Khalsa Ji. Sant Jarnail Singh Khalsa Ji closed his eyes for some time and then tears just started rolling down his cheeks. After some time he opened his eyes and asked them to spread a cloth in front of him and with both of his hands he started putting money on that which was offered to him by the Sangat. Bhai Tanna Singh withdrew the cloth and requested to save him from Maya, the money, and requested to be rather blessed with the meditation on the Naam. On insistence of Khalsa Ji, he just accepted 5 rupees. Then he asked Khalsa Ji the meaning of those things which he had brought from Sant Ji. Khalsa Ji explained that Sant Ji had conveyed that with the blessings of Sadguru Ji, he had won over all the 5 devils of Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, sexual desire, anger, greed, undue attachment, egotism, and he had achieved complete salvation by achieving oneness with God. That was the reason why Khalsa Ji was so much pleased and was offering his gratitude to God. Khalsa Ji, on seeing Bhai Kashmir Singh, said that as he had accompanied you, henceforth all his tasks, whatsoever they might be, would be accomplished without any hindrance, and all his sufferings will come to an end from that day onwards. Admiration of Sant Ji by Baba Thakur Singh Ji of Damdami Taksaal. When the above incident was told to Baba Thakur Singh Ji, he reaffirmed that whatsoever Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa had said was nothing but the truth. On 2 or 3 occasions, Baba Thakur Singh Ji told me along with Jathedar Gurnam Singh that though he was the last person to criticize any of the saints, but one thing which he would definitely like to say is that the spiritual level achieved by Sant Kartar Singh Ji Bariaranwale had not been achieved by anyone so far. Details of his proclamation can only be told by Baba Thakur Singh Ji himself, because Braham Giani ki gat Braham Giani janne. Only a God-conscious being can know the state of another God-conscious being. To organize a month-long program at village Bariar. After meditation of 40 days at village Padda, when Sant Ji came back to his village, special arrangements were made by the Sangat to welcome him. Everyone was excited and their hearts were overwhelmed with love and affection for Sant Ji. He was received at village Madhyala and was brought in the form of a procession to his house. On the way, many welcome gates were erected by the Sangat, despite of the fact that Sant Ji had requested not to make any special arrangements, because it was against his nature to show off or indulge in any kind of extravaganza. But on the insistence of the Sangat, he gave his consent to go ahead and allowed them to do whatsoever they wanted to do. But still, after looking at all those arrangements, Sant Ji was not looking very pleased, as he always used to be. Bhai Pyara Singh asked him the reason for his displeasure. Sant Ji said that as per God's commandment, he was actually supposed to sit and meditate and was not allowed to move around. But due to all these programs, he kept missing the enjoyment for his oneness with God for the whole day. He said, Sadguruji does not allow me to move even for a minute. Bhai Pyara Singh again requested Sant Ji to elaborate the reason as to why a month-long program was being organized at Bariar. Sant Ji said that everything was being done as per the direct commandment of God, and he just had to follow that to avoid any kind of trouble for himself. After coming back from village Padda, one day Sant Ji said that Joginder Singh, Sadguruji has bestowed him with the spiritual level where he was able to salvage the lives of all his near and dear ones. I requested him that neither we had ever dedicatedly meditated, nor we had rendered any kind of selfless service, etc. Then how could that be made possible to happen to all of us? Sant Ji said, it is nothing but a gift bestowed upon me by Sadguruji, by virtue of which deeds of my companions will not be evaluated. All the people who were coming to the Sangat were coming as per the wish of the God Almighty. Fact is that none can come to the Sangat of his own. Papaji said, Joginder Singh, you will never be able to participate in such programs afterwards. He often used to say that 21 generations of a Gurmukh, one who always acts as per Guru's wish, gets salvaged. Special invitations were sent to his near and dear ones to participate in that month-long program. I was also told to come with my family. I was given the liberty to go to my office but was cautioned to be present in the evening prayers. Being the month of April, it was quite hot. I, being a JE in PWD, was overlooking the work of laying down a road near village Tarsikka in those very hot days. But I would always ensure to reach Bariar in the evening. It continued for whole of the month. To make whole program a success, duties were specifically allotted. Bhai Gurbachan Singh of Mehta was asked to wake up the Sangat at 2:30 am and to ensure that all of them would reach in the hall by 4 am. Bhai Gurbachan Singh was known for the fact that he would go to sleep the moment he would sit in the Sangat and used to get up only after the whole of the program would be over. It was almost his daily routine, which is still continuing. Ironically, Sant Ji put such a person on the duty to wake up the Sangat on time. Fearing that he would not be able to wake up once he would go to sleep, he would remain awake to avoid any disobedience to Sant Ji. Younger son of Sant Ji, Bhai Joginder Pal Singh, and Bhai Dayal Singh, younger son of Bhai Kapoor Singh, were allotted the duty to arrange everything from taking bath, etc., for all the male members of the Sangat and wash their undergarments. Bibi Gurbakhsh Kaur was asked to organize the langar, food. In the langar, food items used to be prepared as per the menu prepared by Papa Ji. To prepare South Indian dishes like idli, dosa, etc., daughters of Captain Bua Singh were specially invited. They were quite expert in making such food items. Sant Ji always would try his best to earn happiness and blessings of the Sangat, and while doing so, he himself used to enjoy an unexplainable spiritual ecstasy. After finishing his morning meditation routine, he would sing the hymns in his own peculiar style and tune. He would repeat every line twice. I, along with Jathedar Gurnam Singh, would repeat same lines after Sant Ji, and then males would sing jointly, followed by females of the Sangat. Each line would be repeated twice by all of them. Then Sant Ji would explain the meaning of each line in detail in his own unique style. Then, along with whole of the Sangat, he would chant Guru Mantra in a very peculiar tune. Sant Ji used to say that it was the same tune in which Guru Mantra is being chanted in Sachkhand. In the evening, after the recitation of Rehra Sahib Ji, evening prescribed Bani, hymns would again be sung in the similar fashion, and Sant Ji would explain their meanings in detail. Again, Guru Mantra would be chanted in the same style, and often Sant Ji would start playing Anhad Naad, conjoining with the tune of chanting of the Guru Mantra. It would always take whole of the Sangat to a different spiritual level. Even an ignorant person like me, author, could not remain unaffected by the essence of Naam. It used to be such a wonderful experience which is difficult to explain in words. That Guru Mantra had been recorded and can be listened even today. On an occasion, Jathedar Gurnam Singh Ji, along with one or two more persons and myself, were sitting with Papa Ji. He told us that the way all of us were chanting Guru Mantra, it was being accepted in Sachkhand as such, because it was being chanted in Sehaj, with focused and stable mind, and quoted a verse from Gurbani. Sehje gavya thai pave. That which is sung intuitively is acceptable. I said, Papa Ji, we being the ignorant people, hardly understand anything about Sehaj. Sant Ji said that the way all of us were singing with him was enough for our understanding about Sehaj. I just nodded affirmatively. Sant Ji was actually at the pinnacle of his spiritual level in those days, and always kept sounding Anhad Naad and used to always remain completely absorbed in that. He used to speak very less in those days. We mortals can never understand that spiritual stage. The holy verse of Gurbani is, Gunge gud khaya, puche te kya kahiye. If a dumb person eats the jaggery, and if he is asked to explain the taste, it is not possible for him to do so. Papa Ji used to often tell me, Joginder Singh, I am in complete ecstasy all the time, and Satguru Ji has been kind enough to bestow me with the complete oneness with God Almighty. So to describe or decode the life of such an enlightened soul is beyond the capacity of us mortals. Physically, I, author, was having a problem that whenever I would go to sleep later than my fixed time, I always used to catch bad cold. But now here in Bariar, we would usually go to sleep at 12:30 am in the night and would get up at 2:30 am or so early in the morning. Secondly, Bhai Gurbachan Singh Ji would always sleep by my side and would keep on asking me time every half an hour or so because I was having a radium watch and could see the time even in the darkness. So even that little time for the sleep was not without disturbance. If I would request Bhai Gurbachan Singh Ji to keep the watch with him to avoid me any disturbance, he would say that he did not know how to read the time. On top of that, I would also have to attend to my duty during daytime. One day I told whole of this situation to Papaji and pleaded that if it would continue like that, my health would be affected badly. He assured me that nothing of that sort would happen and asked me not to worry at all. True to his word, it was not less than a miracle that in spite of all that hard work and sleeplessness, I remained quite healthy and never felt tired or sleepy. To put Shaheedi Faujan, martyrs, for the security of my house. The locality where I made my house was sparingly inhabited in those days. There were fields all around my house, marked by houses here and there. So often I used to get worried that I have not fixed anybody's responsibility to look after my house in my absence. I shared my anxiety with Papaji, who told me that he was fully concerned about the security of my house and he made adequate arrangements for that. I was perplexed and could understand nothing. In that confused state of mind, I asked Papaji to clarify as to how he had made that arrangement. Sant Ji told me that what for was the army of martyrs, Shaheed Singhs. They were always on duty. When after complete 1 month, we came back to our house, we found that everything was in place and nobody disturbed anything. Papaji's words that it would be hard to find such programs were completely true. Till date, I am missing that indescribable pleasure and the in-depth knowledge of Gurbani, which all of us got to know during that 1 month. Another special feature of that Samagam program, which was noticed by many of us, was that the Shabad, which would be chanted in the night, nobody could ever recall that in the morning, despite the fact that each line of the Shabad used to be repeated at least 8 times. I myself tried very hard to remember, but without any success. When I asked others to try for the same, each one of them ultimately said the same thing, that they too were not able to remember. None of us could ever understand the reason for that. To explain the spiritual journey beyond Dasam Dwar, 10th door. Papaji told us that the spiritual journey beyond Dasam Dwar, 10th door, is indeed very difficult. There are actually thousands of windows, which could only be opened by chanting the Guru Mantra. Once this journey with the blessings of Sadguruji is completed, the soul becomes one with God and the sadhu becomes fully accomplished. Only a true Guru can do that. Most of the people in this world are ignorant about Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji's worth, and this is why ignorantly they keep on running after the embodied Gurus, thus wasting their precious lives. Sant Ji said that actually it is beyond our capacity to find a true Guru. It is only with the best of the fortune and blessings of God Almighty that one can find a true Guru. I asked Sant Ji to describe the spiritual level of Bhai Rantir Singh Ji. He told me that he could reach only up to Dasam Dwar, 10th door, and was not able to go beyond that. He further said that rare are the people who can achieve that level. I requested Sant Ji to decode the importance of Sehaj Dhuni and Anhad Naad. He explained that Anhad Naad comes alive only when one had achieved oneness with God. He further said that actually that is indescribable, but still, to describe that in words, it can be said that if any living being, right from man to animal, birds, or even any kind of worms, etc., despite the fact whether they want to listen to that or not, but still, if somehow that sound reaches their ears, they will definitely be liberated from the unending cycles of death and birth. He would always quote a verse from the Gurbani to describe about Dasam Dwar. Dasam Dwar Agam Apara Param Purkh Ki Kati. The 10th door is the home of the inaccessible, infinite Supreme Lord. He explained that by reaching at Dasam Dwar, one can visualize God but still cannot achieve oneness with Him. To make it understandable and clearer, it can be simulated with the situation that we can see through a window into a house, but we cannot go inside. Here Satguruji bestows his followers with Anhad sound, because of which the devotee always remains attached with God and can always see the ever-prevailing God. For example, when a snake charmer blows his flute, the snake gets enthralled by that sound and does not move till the time the flute is being played. Similarly, the Anhad Dhuni enthralls God. A verse of Gurbani explains it like this: Anhad Bani Than Nirala, Taki Tun Mohe Gopala. The unstruck melody of the Guru's Bani vibrates in that most special place. The Lord of the world is fascinated with this melody. He always would try to explain everything in the light of Gurbani only. With the grace of Satguruji, he indeed was the knower of the eternal truth. He would tell only those facts which he himself would have experienced. Then he would share those secrets of Gurbani with his companions and with the Sangat to allay all kinds of illusions in their minds. For such enlightened saints, there is a verse of Gurbani: Har ekas hat aya, varsane bhav tere. The Lord has come into the hands of the One, the Guru, who has blessed so many with good fortune. The meeting of Joginder Singh Chopra, author, with Sant Ji. In 1972, I was working as junior engineer JE in PWD, Building and Roads Department of Punjab at Beas Subdivision. Sardar Gurnam Singh Ji, Jathedar Ji, also joined as JE in the same subdivision. Due to commonality in thoughts and common point of view on various issues, both of us developed good mutual understanding in a very short span of time. At the death anniversary of his father, he organized a function at his village Madhyala, near Command district Gurdaspur. He also invited me to attend that function. It was for the first time when I went to his village. He introduced me to his family members and also to Sant Ji. No detailed conversation happened as far as Sant Ji was concerned. Only a few informal notes were exchanged. I clearly remember when Sant Ji asked me to come regularly, and I just, by the way, said okay. Before this meeting, I never had any contact with any of the saints or any other deeply religious person, etc. Neither I had any knowledge about the saintly people. During my study days, I would go to the Gurdwara only during Gurpurab Day or on Sankranti Day, first day of vernacular month, and that was all, as far as my religious activities were concerned. As a matter of fact, very little, or one can say that almost no effort of any kind of religious preaching was being made in the villages in those days. Just as a custom, Gurbani text for the month would be read on Sankranti Day, and Holy Communion Prasad would be served and Sangat would go back to their homes, and that was all. After completing my studies, I served as a junior engineer in Nepal for about 2 years. After coming from Nepal, it was my first posting in Beas. My family and especially my father always taught me that Guru Granth Sahib Ji alone was our Guru. My father or any of my family members never performed any kind of rituals at any of the graves or anywhere else whatsoever. They always worshipped Guru Granth Sahib Ji only. Before I met Sant Ji, my lifestyle was diametrically opposite to the Gurmat, teaching of Guruji. Whenever there would be any kind of religious congregation, Sangat, Sant Ji would call me by sending a special messenger. The fact was that I had totally forgotten that I had given any word to Sant Ji for visiting him regularly, because whatsoever was said in that very brief first meeting with Sant Ji, I just took that as a ceremonial interaction. Anyway, slowly and steadily I started feeling the influence of Sangat, because the discourses of Sant Ji were always very impressive and would invariably leave an indelible imprint on my mind. My stubborn mind was getting affected to some extent, but the dichotomy in my thoughts started troubling me. The reason was that the things which were being preached in the Sangat and the deeds I was doing were not matching with each other. In 1973, I was transferred from Beas to Sri Harmandir Sahib, but with the blessings of Satguruji, I always remained in touch with Sant Ji and the Sangat. Satguruji was kind enough that I met Jagjit Ram Sarma Ji, JE in Amritsar. Both of us were working in the same division under the same axiom. Sharma ji's pay was withheld for the past almost 8 to 9 months by that axiom. I also was not having very cordial relations with that officer. Sharma ji used to go to Sri Harmandir Sahib, Golden Temple, daily, early in the morning. I requested Sharma ji to move with me in my house, as both of us were unmarried at that time. A Nepali servant used to cook my food. I asked Sharma ji not to spend any money as he was not getting any salary. I requested him not to use his motorcycle either and told him to accompany me on my bike wherever he wanted to go. Sharma ji started motivating me to accompany him to go to Sri Harmandir Sahib early in the morning. It was hard for me to refuse him, but I was always scared by the thought that after drinking liquor in the night, how could I go to Harmandir Sahib in the morning? Reformation in my eating and drinking habits. I started accompanying Sharma ji to Harmandir Sahib every day in the morning, but because of my habits, I was always ashamed of myself. The atmosphere in Harmandir Sahib in the wee hours is so pure, soothing and peaceful that even hardest of the minds and hearts cannot escape without getting affected by that serenity. With the blessings of Sadguru Guru Ram Das ji, one day while I was passing near the Bear, Jujube tree, Baba Buddha Sahib ji, in the Parikrama, walking around Holy Pond, I prayed, Guru Ram Das ji, if you are merciful enough to bring me to this pious place, then bless me further so that I can leave my bad habit of drinking liquor. Just after 2 days, all of a sudden, Guruji made up my mind not to drink alcohol, and with Guruji's blessings, till today I have never ever taken to that drinking habit again. Similarly, just after a few more days, I decided not to eat non-vegetarian foods, etc. My friend's circle was not ready to believe it, and used to exclaim that how could it be possible that someone could change so much, and that too all of a sudden. Now when I go down my memory lane, then I do think that when Sadguruji blesses anyone, he just forgives him without taking into account all of his previous acts of omission and commission. If anyone wants to bring change in his lifestyle, 3 components of life will have to be changed, and they are food, behavior, and thought process. Same happened with me, and the things started changing for the betterment. Still, it is difficult for me to comprehend how that miraculous change came into my life. I do believe that it was some occult force which was doing everything for me. In 1974, I got married, and God was so grateful that my wife was already having great religious bent of mind. So for me to move on to this righteous path was made all the more convenient. I arranged a party for my fellow companions of my department and served them with food, etc., according to their taste and choice. But with the grace of Sadguruji, I was able to avoid eating or drinking all of the prohibited things. To build a Gurdwara at Kangra Colony. I was living in a rented house in Kangra Colony. All the opinion makers of that area thought that there should be a Gurdwara in the colony and efforts should be made to build one. Everyone endorsed the proposal. One of them donated the land for the noble cause. Unanimously, they decided that I would be overlooking the whole project. With Sadguruji's blessings and sincere efforts of all the people, Gurdwara building was completed, and after installing Sadguru Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Shri Akhand Path was initiated. Bani was being recited with the cooperation of all the local residents. Sant Ji was requested to reach on the Pog ceremony. At the given time, he reached in a truck along with the Sangat. As the local residents were doing the recitation of Gurbani, Sant Ji could realize that the speed at which it was being recited, Pog ceremony could not be held until very late in the evening. Sant Ji asked me the reason of being late. I explained that all of us being new to the whole of the process, we could never calculate the time. Sant Ji then asked Bhai Baldev Singh Ji to himself start reciting the Gurbani. In spite of every effort, the Bhog ceremony could not be held before 2 p.m. Langar was prepared by the Sangat jointly. Sant Ji was quite pleased to see the enthusiasm of the Sangat. That was how Sant Ji never allowed any kind of laxity to creep into our relationship. The fact was that I had forgotten all my relations, only Sant Ji and Sangat became everything for me. Such was the aura of Sant Ji that whosoever came in his contact, he would invariably start feeling as if he was the closest person to Sant Ji. To encourage me to buy the adjacent plot of land. Me and my friend bought plots of land adjacent to each other. Both of us designed our houses accordingly. But later on he changed his mind not to construct his house. I requested him to sell that plot to me, but he was not ready for that. After quite some time, the prices of the land increased manifold and were completely beyond my reach. I never used to discuss my family matters with Papaji. One day when I went to meet him at Bariar, he asked me to buy the adjacent plot of land. I told Papaji that my friend was not ready to sell that to me, and secondly, I didn't have enough money to buy that, as the prices of land were skyrocketing at that point of time. Papaji again said that I should buy that plot, and if need be, he would help me monetarily. Just after 1 week, my friend came to my house and asked me if I would purchase his plot. I asked for the price and also told him that I won't be able to make the payment in one go, and requested that it would be given in installments. Very kindly, he agreed to all my preconditions. Then he made some calculation, and the rate he quoted was much less than even half of the market price of the land prevailing at that time. Still, just by the way, I said that the price quoted by him was quite high. He decreased it further by rupees 1,000. Papaji, as per his promise, gave me rupees 3,000, and this way I was able to buy that plot of land. To cure me, author, of my illness by bestowing his Papaji blessings. In 1980, one day I went to village Bariar to meet Papaji. All of a sudden, I started feeling pain in my abdomen, which was increasing with every passing moment. I had to return to Amritsar for emergency treatment. Doctors, after examining me, gave me an injection and asked me to take rest at home. Pain didn't stop, and next day again, I was given an injection and the doctor told me to come daily for the next 2 to 3 days for the treatment. Despite getting my treatment from a qualified doctor, there was no let-up in the symptoms. On the 3rd day, I had to rush to Guru Nanak Dev Hospital emergency department because pain at that time became unbearable. Late in the evening, Dr. Professor Gurmail Singh came and diagnosed my disease as a case of burst appendix. He asked the resident doctor to shift me into the ward where I booked a family room for myself. Glucose and other treatments were started. Everyone in the Sangat came to know about my illness. Papaji directed Bhai Bachan Singh Mehtewale to go to the hospital along with 5 others and told them to remain there. All of them would daily make me hear the recitation of Nitnem, daily prescribed recitation of Gurbani and other Gurbani as much as was possible. Despite treatment, I was growing weaker and weaker with every passing day. There was a lot of pus in my abdomen and my weight was reduced to 30 to 32 kg from my earlier weight of 70 kg. Papaji was not keeping good health in those days. He came to the hospital to see me and asked me to remain in high spirits, Chardi Kala. With the blessings of Sant Ji, I never felt depressed. Rather, I remained in high spirit, contrary to the belief of many of those who were to come to inquire about my health and usually would declare that I would not be able to survive for long. Doctors felt that the only option left was to go in for surgical operation, but they were quite apprehensive because of the deterioration in my health. Just to assess my mental strength, the doctor came to me and said that he was left with no other options but to resort to a surgical operation. I told the doctor that life and death are in the hands of God Almighty, so they should do whatsoever was required to be done. Operation was fixed for the very next day, and about 2.5 liters of pus was drained out of my abdomen. I remained unconscious for the next 48 hours. I was kept next to the duty room of the doctors for close monitoring. Later on, I was told that whenever during my unconscious period the doctors would ask me about my well-being, I always used to answer that I was in high spirits. The verse of the Gurbani is, Pingul Parbat Par Pare Khal Chatur Bakita Andule Tripavan Sujya Gur Pet Purnita Mehma Sadhu Sang Ki Suno Mere Mita. The cripple crosses over the mountain, the fool becomes a wise man, the blind man sees the three worlds by meeting with the true Guru and being purified. This is the glory of the Sadh Sangat, the company of the holy. Listen, O my friends. That time of 1.5 months of my stay in the hospital just passed like a dream, without any kind of negative thoughts coming into my mind. This was all because of the blessings of Sant Ji, that I could come out as a winner from a very grave situation. As per doctors' claim, only 1 out of 2,000 cases of burst appendix can be saved. Now I feel that it was Sant Ji only who gave me new lease of life, because sadhus are as sympathetic as Sadhguruji, and they definitely have their say in Sachkhand, court of God. A miracle happened with Bibi Surinder Kaur, my wife, while she was sitting in Sangat. It was in 1978. I went to Palai along with my family. Daily satsang program used to be held in Sector 2, both in morning and evening time. Papaji made a program for a kirtan which would continue throughout the night, Ran Sabai. The hymn singers were singing, and in between they would start recitation of Naam, and whole Sangat would join them in the recitation. My author's wife Surinder Kaur was sitting quite at the fag end adjoining the walkway, left for the Sangat to go and bow before Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Suddenly she joined both her hands in front of her forehead, her eyes were closed, and she was sitting with crossed legs. She started reciting the Naam, synchronizing with her breaths. She just got up and came on the walkway leading to Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, swinging her body left and right in a musical fashion, and she started proceeding towards Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. An iron girder was fixed in the walkway, and everybody was fearing that she would definitely hit with that and would be injured. But her body swung in such a way that she cleared the obstacle and reached right in front of Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. She bowed her head and started moving backwards, again clearing the obstacle in a miraculous way, and sat down at the same place from where she had started. Everyone was astonished. The distance through which she walked was about 20 to 25 feet. Such feats were often seen by the Sangat in the presence of Papaji. Later on, my wife could never recollect what exactly happened on that day. She only felt a strange kind of pleasure, which she says she cannot express in words. The state of the mind of a saint cannot be explained in words. Sadh ki mehma bed na janai, jeta sunai teta bekhyanai. The glory of the holy people is not known to the Vedas. They can describe only what they have heard. To initiate me, author, into singing of Kirtan. After coming in contact with Papaji, I started relishing to the listening of Kirtan. I just thought that I should also learn to sing the Kirtan. Being always on field duty, I had to leave for my job quite early in the morning, and I would often come home quite late in the evening. So I had hardly any time for learning the Kirtan. But I always nurtured a very deep desire to learn it. When I would find some time, I would immediately sit by the side of the harmonium and would keep on doing whatsoever I would be able to do with that. There was a draftsman living in my neighborhood. He was working in the education department. He had some knowledge about playing the harmonium and made me understand the tune of one Shabad. The Shabad was, Hum avgun pare ek gun nahi, Angmrit chad bikhe bikh khai. I am overflowing with sins and demerits. I have no merits or virtues at all. I abandoned the ambrosial nectar and I drank poison instead. I started practicing it whenever I could find some time, without having any true knowledge of the tune, etc. Daily there used to be satsang in village Bariar. One fine day I tried to sing the above Shabad in the Sangat. I, being completely out of tune, could not sing the complete Shabad. The same day Papaji proclaimed that henceforth Joginder Singh, me, and Joginder Pal Singh, Papaji's younger son, would always sing the Kirtan in the Sangat. After that, with Sadguru's grace and Sant Ji's blessings, I rendered lot of service by way of singing the Kirtan. So much so that Pai Joginder Pal Singh could even do Kirtan in Sri Harmandir Sahib along with Pai Surinder Singh Jodhpuri. He is now living in Canada and has continued with singing of Kirtan till date. He has started holding weekly Kirtan programs, turn-wise, in different houses, and money thus collected is being used for religious preachings. Miracle of Rain. Whenever I would have an urge to meet Papaji, I would immediately go to village Bariar to meet him. On certain occasions, because of my work constraints or some other unavoidable circumstances, if I would not be able to go in spite of my strong wish, Papaji would often come to my house with some person and my desire would be fulfilled. That was how he used to reciprocate the love of his companions. Once there was scarcity of rain and the crops were just drying up. It was a long spell of dry season and people in the villages were resorting to all kinds of things so that there could be rainfall. I just felt an urge to see Papaji and I went there. As soon as I reached there, clouds came from nowhere and it started raining heavily. There was water and water everywhere. Papaji just said, "See, whenever Joginder Singh comes, he brings rain along with him." To my utter astonishment, this process repeated itself many times. Whenever I would go to Bariar, though there won't be any sign of rain or clouds, suddenly it would become cloudy and would start raining. Slowly I could understand that it was nothing but the power of the words of a true saint. Farida, je tu mera hoye rahe, sab jag tera hoye. O Farid, if you will be mine, the whole world will be yours. A miracle happened with driver Harbhajan Singh. A road was being built by the PWD department under my supervision. Papaji's village was situated on the same road. I asked Pai Harbhajan Singh, who was a driver of a tipper truck, to deliver a message to Papaji. When he reached village Bariar, suddenly the brakes of his vehicle stopped working. He was quite worried as to how he would go back to Amritsar. Papaji asked him to take some tea, etc., but he begged his leave, saying that his vehicle's brakes were not working and he would like to go back before sunset. Sant Ji insisted him to take tea and he himself started getting ready and told Harbhajan Singh to drop him at Mehta Sahib Gurdwara. Sant Ji told him that he would also get an opportunity to meet Sant Jarnail Singh Ji, who was an enlightened soul. But Harbhajan Singh was under great mental pressure, thinking that it would be extremely difficult for him to drive the vehicle during night, and that too without any brakes. Papaji assured him not to worry at all, and told him that once he would meet Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa, the brakes of his vehicles would automatically start functioning. Reaching at Mehta, Harbhajan Singh again requested Sant Ji, but Sant Ji insisted him to come along and again stated that once he would meet Khalsa Ji, the brakes would start functioning. So both of them went to Mehta Sahib Gurdwara and met Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa, who served them with tea and snacks, etc. When he started driving back to Amritsar, he completely forgot that the brakes were not working. On the way back, he didn't feel any difficulty in applying the brakes. Only after reaching the yard where the vehicle was to be parked, he again realized that the brakes were not working. He was astonished how come the brakes worked normally all through the way and had failed again after reaching at the parking place. He remembered Sant Ji's words, which turned out to be true. Papaji, as per his habit, would always try to give credit to others, and here also he gave all the credit to Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa. The inner sightedness of Papaji. My, author's, wife was pregnant and soon we were expecting a child in our house. I prayed in front of Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that whatsoever soul he would be sending into my house that might please be already in love with him. I also thought that as and when Palai Sangat would come here, I would ask them to pray for me. I never disclosed anything about my thought to anybody. Like every year, Palai Sangat reached at Bariar village to meet Papaji. I also joined them and enjoyed the enthralling kirtan. Just when I was thinking to come back, Papaji asked me to fix a program with Palai Sangat, which I had thought of fixing with them. He told me that otherwise all of them would go to see their respective relatives and it would become difficult to convey messages to all of them. I requested Sant Ji to fix the date and time. I told him that Sehaj part was almost near completion and if he would allow, it could be fixed for the very next day itself. He told me to go back to Amritsar and start the preparation and said that he would be coming the very next day with whole of the Sangat. After reaching home, I made all the necessary arrangements. Next day, everybody reached in time. Granthi Singh, priest of the nearby Gurdwara, completed the Sehaj part, which was followed by Kirtan. Papaji asked Pilai's Jathedar Atma Singh to perform the Ardas. I was so pleased in my mind that Papaji was fulfilling my wish, about which nobody else even knew, and everything was being done in a very natural way. There is another similar incident. Every year Papaji used to take the Sangat of Pilai for attending the annual program. My wife just wished in her mind that it would be so good if she could have a seat in Papaji's cabin so that she would be able to listen to the Anhad Shabad and various other discourses of Gurbani. Everybody reached the railway station on time to board the Chhattisgarh Express train, which directly goes to Pilai. Everybody was quite enthusiastic and all of them boarded the train. At around 9 p.m., Papaji got up and told Jathedar Bhai Gurnam Singh that he was not taking care about Sangat's seating arrangement in a proper manner. He asked him to arrange the bedding of Surinder Kaur, my author's wife, and that of Joginder Singh, myself, near his own bedding, and to carefully see all arrangements for the rest of the Sangat as well. This way he fulfilled my wife's wish. Then he sat near the window and kept sounding Anhad Shabad for quite long time. That was the secret style of Papaji to fulfill the wishes of his near and dear ones, without even letting anyone know about that. Everything was done in a very natural way. Why everyone should be baptized. Once Papaji came to my house and I requested him to allay one of my doubts. He asked me to explain my query. I told him that there are many Sikhs who are not baptized, but they completely follow all the prescribed Sikh rituals like recitation of Naam and Gurbani to lend selfless service for the community, etc. Not only that, they are completely vegetarian and do not even drink liquor, etc. They have full faith in Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and bow only before Satguru Ji. A baptized Sikh is also supposed to do all the above mentioned activities. Then what is the difference between the two? Then Papaji started explaining and said that just for the sake of understanding, he would quote a worldly example. Just suppose that a girl and a boy fall in love and start living together, they develop physical relation and eventually give birth to a child. Everyone will look down upon them and society won't accept that. If all of the above incidents happen after getting legally married, then the birth of a child becomes an occasion to celebrate and everybody congratulates them. Similarly, all those people who perform all the rituals of Sikhism without getting baptized, they would keep on enjoying all the worldly virtues, but they would not be accepted in the court of Almighty God. Rather, they would be looked down upon in His court. But those who get baptized and strictly follow and perform all the prescribed rituals, they would not only be respected in this world, but also in the court of God Almighty. The Gurbani verse says, Satgur bajo gur nahi, koi negure ka hai nao bura. Without the true Guru, there is no Guru at all. One who is without Guru has a bad reputation. That is why every Sikh must be baptized. That was how Sant Ji used to clarify doubts of the seekers by quoting worldly examples. There is another incident similar to the above one. Once a high-ranking military officer came to see Papaji and asked him to explain something about recitation of Naam. Papaji very candidly told him that as yet he was not even admitted into the first class, but he was eager to know about the syllabi of BA and MA classes. How could that be possible? Officer said that he was not able to understand what Sant Ji wanted to convey him. Papaji said that he was not yet baptized, which is the very first step to get admission into a Gurmat school. That officer recited a verse of Gurbani. Antar khuta amrit parya, sabde kaad piye penihari. Deep within, the well of the heart is overflowing with Lord's ambrosial nectar. The water carrier draws and drinks in the water of the Shabad. Papaji said that is absolutely correct, but told him that he might have noticed that when a hand pump is instilled and everything is fitted in place, still water does not come out even if we keep on pumping for hours. Water only comes out when some water is poured into the pipe of the hand pump from above. It doesn't mean that there was no water in the earth. Rather, there was a lot of water, but in spite of all the arrangements perfectly in place, we succeeded in taking out the groundwater only when we poured some water from outside. Similarly, until we partake in Amrit by getting baptized by the 5 chosen ones, Panch Pyaras, no one would be able to reach up to the well of Amrit within one's body. The pumping of the water is similar to the recitation of Guru Mantra. Listening to all these explanations, the officer was fully satisfied and speechless. That was how Sant Ji used to make us understand the meaning of quite complicated queries in a very simplified manner. Another incident needs to be mentioned here. Sant Ji was sitting under a shed facing towards the road in the Satsangkar of Sector 2 of Palai Nagar after he had finished with his discourse in the Sangat. Bhai Swaran Singh, just out of his curiosity, requested Sant Ji that he had never shorn off, cut his hair and performs all the prescribed practices very punctually. He participates in reciting Gurbani wherever a Khand Path would be going on, taking it as an act of holy service. He tries to do all possible things so as to be a devout Sikh. Doing all those things, if he would not get baptized, then would that make any difference? Papaji listened to Swaran Singh very carefully and said, "Do you see this road outside? If you will broom this road daily, what will happen?" Bhai Swaran Singh said that the road will become clean. Papaji said, "What will you get out of that?" Swaran Singh said, "Nothing." Then explainingly, Papaji said that as the road belonged to municipal committee, and if he would have got employment in the municipal committee and then he had performed the same service, then what would he might have got? Bhai Swaran Singh said that he would have been paid for that. Papaji told him that not only would he be paid, he would be entitled to many other benefits like medical coverage, free education of children in municipality schools, etc. And he would also be looked after in times of any kind of trouble. Bhai Swaran Singh said, "It is absolutely correct." Now Papaji said that in a similar manner, when we get baptized by partaking Amrit and register our name in Guru's register, and then if we would follow the strict code of conduct as per Guru's commandments, then Guru would look after all of our troubles and sorrows. Then enjoying his patronage, we can live happily in this world and would also be honored in his court after the death. That is only the way by virtue of which we can cross over the difficult ocean of this world. On the other hand, if we do not register ourselves with Guruji, there won't be anybody to look after us. Bhai Swaran Singh was completely speechless. Soon after that, he along with whole of his family got baptized. Till date, he is a devout Sikh. That was the way Papaji used to remove doubts in any Gursikh's mind in a very easy and understandable style. Enthusiasm to visit Sri Harmandir Sahib Golden Temple. Whenever Papaji would come on leave via Amritsar, he would always directly go to visit Sri Harmandir Sahib before going to his house. He would take a holy dip in Amritsar Sarovar, holy pond, and would attentively listen to Gurbani Kirtan after paying obeisance in Sanctum Sanctorum. Whenever he would have to travel to other places, he would always try to board the train from Amritsar, and before that he would visit Sri Harmandir Sahib. He often used to say to his companions that worldly mortals could never come to know the secret glory of Sri Harmandir Sahib Ji. Once he told me that the structure of Sri Harmandir Sahib Ji was designed with a very high spiritual understanding. This secret can only be understood by the blessings of Sadhguru Ji himself. He told me that in almost all the religious places of the world, one would have to ride a few steps to go inside them. But it is only in Sri Harmandir Sahib that one will have to descend down many steps, meaning thereby that if anyone wants to meet to God Almighty, he would have to leave his ego and surrender in humility. After reaching in its broad surroundings, one can feel that whole atmosphere is enriched with spirituality. This is because of the ever ongoing kirtan, singing of hymns. Here one easily forgets all his worldly connections and just bows down with extreme concentration. Sadhguruji has made 4 doors but not 4 bridges, meaning thereby that God is one, and there is only one way to meet him, and anybody can tread this path. All those who say that God is one but claim that there are hundreds of ways to meet him are totally ignorant about the whole truth. In every human being, there is one way to meet God within, and that is when mind rides on the Shabad with full concentration, conjoining with the breaths. Then only it reaches the Dasam Dwar, 10th door. From here, the mind is able to see God, but for oneness with him, one has to traverse a long path. All this can only be achieved by the blessings of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The recitation of Naam has to be done vigorously, putting in a lot of effort. It is not a matter of just talking and discussing a lot, but doing very little. That was how he told many secrets of Sri Harmandir Sahib Ji. End of audiobook part 6.